Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Today's topic, we're going to talk about, are black fraternities and sororities still relevant? Are black fraternities and sororities still relevant? My answer is yes, they are still relevant, but we're fighting a different cause. Basically, from the early 20th century, black fraternities and sororities were started, with many of them started at Howard University, and that's where the Pan-Hellenic Council also started. And we're talking about those fraternities that are in the Divine Nine. It used to be the Elite Eight until 1997, when Iota Phi Theta, which started in Baltimore at Morgan State University in 1963. Then our fraternity. Now, we are a large fraternity as well. I'm a member of Phi to Psi fraternity. Now, Phi to Psi is not part of the Divine Nine. We're still trying to get involved with NIC. That's the North American Fraternity or Intra-Fraternity Council. The North American Intra-Fraternity Council, known as NIC. You have to be in one of those conferences if you're going to have a chapter on campus. We were in one of them a long time ago because we still have chapters and graduate chapters. My fraternity actually started in 1965 at Mott Community College, and we're the only ones who started at a community college. Our fraternity turned 50 years old last year, and now we have it to where you can put a chapter, but it's all about the paperwork. But moving on. Back when we were in the Jim Crow era, inequality, we couldn't vote, or we were 3/5 of a person. We couldn't get into higher education as far as attending white institutions, because basically Howard University, Morgan University, Lincoln University, that's where a number of African Americans went to school. And don't forget some of the Gramblings, the Southerns. That's where we started our fraternities. I mean, chapters were growing leaps and bounds. Virginia Union, I went to that school as well. But we needed those fraternities for protest, for social and community commitments. You still need them now. But what's happening is you have a lower enrollment in HBCUs. This is why it may seem that the membership in the Black Greek letter organizations has declined. But you have these chapters at white schools like Old Dominion, Eastern Michigan University. So they're still around, but many, particularly guys, they're not going to college and they're not interested in joining fraternities. And some believe that hazing is still going on, although you have fraternities and even sororities who have it in their policy that you can't haze. But there have been people who have actually died being initiated or pledging Black Greek letter organizations. Not that they haven't done it in the white organizations, but in the black organizations. You know, you see a line, everybody's dressed the same. It's like military. You have to learn a lot about the history. But you still need your Black Greek letter organizations, just like you need HBCUs. So what has to happen is, what kind of cause are we fighting for? Okay. What we need to utilize for black fraternities and black sororities, let's start networking. In other words, okay, if you have a fraternity, you want members in, get them to your website by putting your information on social media. Now, they may have, because I haven't checked any of the sites, but I can tell you The site that my fraternity has, we're not even on social media, so how do people know? You have to market yourself better. You have to have something to offer interested membership, like smokers, what they expect. And then you have to look at how many members you need. Because if you look at it, even the bigger fraternities, you have a lot of members, but some of the members aren't paying dues. And that's one of the problems in the black fraternities and sororities. And if you don't pay dues, it's very hard for your organization to survive. And I know dues can be a very expensive commitment to operate your fraternity. Because if you are in a graduate chapter, well, you pay your dues for your graduate chapter and you pay national dues. And this is particularly the Divine Nine fraternities. Now, our dues, we don't have as many chapters, and we have one big grand chapter, which that governs all of the graduate and undergraduate chapters. Our dues aren't as large as the bigger fraternities. That's because we don't have the membership. That's basically why it looks like black fraternities and sororities aren't relevant. It's based on the membership. There is a common cause, and regardless what the cause is, we still have a lot of black issues that need to be solved. And I believe that's where the black fraternities and black sororities need to put their focus. Black on black crime. We need to build networking, business networks. We can also talk about policy, voting, education. Because what I do on my channel, this is what a fraternity should be doing as well. Leadership, particularly men, mentoring, leadership development, and then building a community. Now, when I say building a community, you got to build yourself first as an individual. But I digress. Black fraternities and sororities are always going to be relevant. They're not going anywhere. But for them to reach the numbers, they have to market themselves better. Don't make it look like a person has to buy friends. Because I've heard many people say that. Well, why should I join a fraternity or sorority, pay my money to buy friends? Why should I pay money to wear some Greek letters? I mean, those are valid points. Why should I join a fraternity or sorority thinking I'm going to die because I'm being hazed? Well, the way to get the members, and I'm basically speaking for the fraternities. The sororities, I'm going to tell you, they've always done well. The AKAs and the Deltas. It's because they are fighting for a common cause. Women tend to stick together. That's the good thing. I will say that to our black sororities. If the fraternities would follow that same model, we'd be great. See, black fraternities, who are they made up of? Black men. And again, it goes back to everything that's heard on YouTube. Black men don't stick together. So how can you form any type of fraternity or bonding when we don't have each other's back? I mean, we have all kinds of causes we could be fighting for. Policy, voting, education, business, black on black crime. Now, to the effort of, my fraternity, they are in a community helping the residents of Flint with the water problem. And I believe that the alphas, the kappas, and the Qs are as well. It also depends on where you are, because a lot of your blatant racism took place in the South. And this is where you had your HBCUs, a large conglomerate of them, like your Southerns, your Gramblings, your Bethune-Cookmans, your Allen College down there in Columbia, South Carolina, your Savannah States, your Virginia Unions. But moving on. Black fraternities and sororities have not gone away. All you have to do is contact the fraternity or sorority that you're interested in, but you have to be able to answer questions, though, if you're a member. Like if somebody asks me about our fraternity, okay, we have the information on the website, but I have to be knowledgeable enough about my organization to elaborate on what a potential member is asking me. And I just believe that you have a number of individuals today who love to feel part of something in a superficial way. Like, okay, the Kappas used to be the fraternity for all the light-skinned, the pretty boys. You had the Qs, they were the wild ones. Then you had your brainiacs, they were your alphas. Then you had your partiers, they were your sigmas. And then the last fraternity, and I'm just talking about the Divine Nine right now, the iotas, they were mainly your non-traditional students. They were your older students who were in the military, were working, but they were going to college. And then you have us. Basically, our fraternity, which is the 6th largest black fraternity in the country. In order to get in our fraternity, and this was the creed, you had to be in some type of leadership position. And this is still what our fraternity looks for. And that's another reason, too, why you can't attract people in black fraternities and sororities. We're looking for a certain type of person that's going to fit the image. Fraternities are all about image, too, okay? Reputation. And you want to keep that up because that's what people are looking at. Well, because we can't find the type of people that we're looking for, we just don't worry too much about membership. But if you want to keep the fraternity running, you have to be concerned about membership because you need dues. You need initiation fees. And all that will come if you have a common cause. But we also need to be able to put the chapters on campuses so they'd be recognized. Because right now, even the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities, whether you're at an HBCU or you're at a white school, and I'm talking about the HBCUs right now, you're not going to see as many sororities and fraternities at HBCUs because, again, the enrollment is declining because most of those folks are going to the bigger schools. So you have to get individuals who are interested in going to the HBCUs in order for them to pledge a fraternity and a sorority. And again, I'm repeating myself because repetition is the mother of all teachings. There has to be a cause, a real good cause for individuals to join fraternities and sororities. And that cause, okay, we've already talked about the racism, the inequalities that we had to live through back in the 1900s, the 10s, all the way up to the 70s and 80s, the civil rights movement. Now it's basically policy and just reinforcing what we have gone through back in the days to make sure that is still relevant as well. I mean, if you look at Jesse Jackson, he's a Q, but is he relevant? No, he really isn't. Because the issues that we're fighting today aren't the same as the issues that we were fighting in the 60s. So what has happened is we're evolving into something different. Now, I believe that we need to start utilizing the fraternities and sororities. Yes, we can keep our social contacts because fraternities are social groups. You still need that. You can keep your fraternities and the community. You still need that as well. But basically, you want to get in the workplace and form business alliances. That's where you need to utilize your fraternities. And we need to utilize them in a way that we're forming entrepreneurships. And if we don't form entrepreneurships, utilize them for scholarships. And I believe that is happening, but we need to emphasize scholarships more, particularly with black men, because you have more black women going to college. The sororities are still fine. They have a smaller decline, but there's always going to be more women going to school because there are more programs that women can use to go to school, and women are encouraged to go to school, whereas men aren't. So, what has to happen? You need to raise your element of conscience, get individuals interested in coming to college. And that's particularly the men. You can put fraternities at community colleges. Ours is an example, Mott Community College. You should be able to do that fraternities. But basically, we need to start utilizing fraternities and sororities as a way to network with each other. And a word or suggestion to all the black fraternities and sororities: utilize social media. Set up smokers. You want to get your numbers up? Get people interested. But let them know that this is not a place where you're going to buy friendship. You'll make friends. This is not a place that we're going to do hazing. You're going to learn history. We're going to help you keep your grade point average up. And that's another thing. When you pledge, your grade point average went down. There's a lot of money to go to college. And it's a big commitment. And you have to have insurance too. Not the pledgee, but the fraternity has to have insurance. And insurance is a lot of money. And with hazing, when that took place, that raised the premiums of the insurance. So remember, to be relevant as a black Greek letter organization, have a cause other than what we've heard. Talking about buying friends, the hazing, the taking somebody because they're light skinned or they're dark skinned. You have to rise above the superficialness. And then, okay, we already know the roles of racism. We couldn't vote. We couldn't get into white fraternities, and we could go to white schools. We know that. So let's evolve and utilizing the black fraternities and the sororities, yes, for the common causes that we shared with the social issues, but let's network with the economic issues as well, because in order to really be successful, you should be able to build your own economy. And at the end of the day, if you can do that, then your organizations will be relevant and individuals will come and seek you out. It's just like everything else. You have to market yourself. And again, when I said relevant, no fraternities and sororities, so I don't sound like a hypocrite, they are relevant, but they're not as relevant as they once were because times have changed. And that's what I mean. You want to gain your relevance or become an organization where people are going to seek you out. Start talking about economics. Teach people about government and voting. That's what you need to do. And doing a little mentorship. Don't just talk about it, just do it. Because you have to develop people in order to build people. And that's what the military does. What they do, they strip everything down that you had when you came in, and then they build you back up to their way of thinking so you understand the organization. That's what fraternities need to do. And at the end of the day, once that happens, you'll have thriving organizations again. And that's this commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for today, Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2016. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. The guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to the channel because I'm giving you information that is quality from a professional and mature perspective. On this channel, I don't engage in any controversy or any type of debatable issues, nor do I participate in any drama or unnecessary bickering. I keep everything realistic but positive because this is a channel to teach, and knowledge is power. And if you have a business or a topic that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Also, like comments. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. But your comments must be pithy. No bloviating or pettifogging if you wish to opine. And that's it for this video. Till next time. My name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night.